Yes, I ran into Bill Shatner at GalaxyCon, and what a wonderful experience that was, because I hadn't seen him in a long time. Now, I had seen him since we had done the Star Trek, the episode, The Corporate Maneuver, because there was one time, and I must have been about 40 years old, he had written a series of science fiction books, and he was doing one, he was going to direct a TV movie of one of his science fiction books, and I auditioned for the role. And I got a chance to go in and see him and audition in front of William Shatner, and he didn't hire me. You know, and I hold no grudges. I laugh about when I think to myself, he didn't hire me. But no, listen, directors have to make decisions, and they decided not to hire me. But then I was able to, it was just a few months ago. I saw him, and we had a really nice chat back in the green room, and he's getting up there in years, but he remembered, and we had a fun little chat, and he's a very lovable guy. If you guys ever have a chance to meet him, what an icon. My goodness, William Shatner. I mean, he was in Twilight Zone, for crying out loud. He saw the dude out on the airplane, out on the wing. So anyway, yeah, that was...
He's been to space.
Yes, he has been to space, yes. And he's been on a horse. Actually, here's one thing. This is news that's long since passed. No one's going to care. No one's going to get in trouble. I have 2 artificial hips, and so does Bill's got one. And in fact, when I had my artificial hip done, my first one done, my surgeon, and I'm not going to get him in trouble because he could get in trouble for this. He said to me, he goes, your co-star just had his done 10 days ago, and he's already been on a horse. And that, you know what, Bill Shatner, he's a Canadian, and he grew up on a farm, a horseman, a ranch. And one tough SOB. Here he was 80 years old. He just had his hip replaced. And the day that they released him for physical activity, his choice was to go to his horse and get on it. Tough son of a bitch. I got on a horse. I needed a step stool. But coming up this summer, I'm in a movie called The Old Way, which is a Western that Nick Cage is the star. And Ryan Kiera Armstrong is the co-star, and she's wonderful. She was in American Horror Story, the past season of American Horror Story. Firestarter. And she played the lead in Firestarter also. But anyway, this is Nick Cage's first Western that he ever shot. And we filmed it up in Montana, and it was a wonderful opportunity to go up there and work with Nick and work on a film. My wife, Kat, and my daughter, Rafa, came up and we hung out for 5 or 6 weeks working on this movie, and I did. I got up on a horse, I rode around, I did some of my own stunts, and it was a wonderful experience. So, and it's a good movie. And if you get a chance to see it, coming up later on this summer, it's called The Old Way. And Nick Cage is very dynamic in this movie, and I think it'll be a popular picture.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see it. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, so we do have a microphone set up right in the middle of the room. Whatever questions you guys can have, now is your time to ask. All right, you're up first. What's your name?
Stephen. Besides your brother, your niece has become quite a prolific director these days too.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, so far, what do you think of her work? And she hasn't given us anything on Uncle Clint. I think I have something I want you to direct you in.
Well, that's already happened.
It has.
Thank you. Yes.
Sure.
Well, not on Mandalorian yet. Yeah. But one of the first things she ever directed was part of a Lifetime Channel series, and it was called Call Me Crazy. And actually, it was it wasn't a series. It was a movie that they broke it up, and they had like 4 or 5 different stories, like an anthology about the human condition, and they were all directed by women. It was a women-driven, women-centric kind of production. And Bryce got to direct one of the episodes. And in fact, her episode was called Call Me Crazy. And she did call me. She said, Uncle Clint, I'd love you to come down. It's not much of a part, but you got to come down and be in my movie. And I was, Bryce, I would love to. And both me and her mother, Cheryl, came down, and it was sort of the premise of the part of the movie that we were in was it was an insane asylum, and it was a little like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It was group therapy for wackos. Which I can see why I got hired for that. I don't know about Cheryl. But anyway, watching Bryce direct brought tears to my eyes because her mannerisms so much mimicked her dad. The way she would approach actors, the way she would bounce from Video Village to the set to give an actor a final note, to the way she would interact with the crew, it reminded me so much of Ron. And in fact, after I worked a couple of days on the show, and the first day, I came home and I had to call Ron. I said, Bud, first of all, you got to be really, really proud of your daughter because she's just fine. She holds the reins as good as anybody. And you should be so proud because she has all of your best qualities and all of her mother's best qualities. Cheryl, Ron's wife, they've been married almost 50 years now. That Bryce has, as my dad would say, taken the bit. She's charged forward as a director, and she's wonderful. But I'll give you one little story. She does. Seriously, she had the same mannerisms as Ron, the way she would kind of go up to people and talk to them and stuff, and whisper in their ear. Except, and I told this to Ron, I said, there's one thing that your daughter does that you shouldn't do because you're going to get in trouble if you do it. And that is, as she's talking to an actor, she will play with their hair. Like, she'd do it, me, obviously. Play with it. But she would, as she would lean in to give an actor a little note, private moment, why don't you think about this, or why don't you slow down a little bit here? This is kind of a conversation that a director has with an actor that they don't necessarily want to publish. You don't want to advertise this, just a simple note, But then Cheryl or Bryce would lean in and immediately start twirling their hair. And Ron, and I told Ron, I go, if you do that, people will think you're weird. And Ron laughed and he goes, well, you know what that's from? She's the oldest sibling. Bryce has been twirling people's hair since she had her first sister. It's something that Bryce does, and we all get a laugh at that. But I'll tell you, again about Bryce. She's a great person. She means what she says. She does not talk out of both sides of her mouth. She has the wonderful combination of Ron's sensibilities and her mom, Cheryl's passion. And I wish her all the best. Of course I wish her the best, because eventually she's going to make another big studio movie and she might hire me.
I wasn't ready for the Lifetime project, so I'm really glad I asked.
Oh, no, cool.
Right, what's your name?
Hey, Clint, I'm Chris.
Hey, Chris.
My question's about Apollo 13.
Okay.
First we had the